Welcome to everyone. I'm so excited to be here tonight. I'd like to first and foremost thank the executive of the Chartered of Bankers of Nigeria for giving me the platform to share my personal experience in this space. So what we're going to be doing tonight is basically just giving an insight into what's actually happening in the market space. In the market space, we're going to be looking at the land and the banking space. We're going to be looking at the technology space, and we're going to looking at business analysis. How business analysis actually help so many people, to get a new opportunity. But before I go into all of that, I'd like to quickly just introduce myself. Just to add to what Jacob has just said. I want to say that I've been in the business analysis space for the past 25 years. I've been there even when business analysis was not officially, recognized. We want to share these simple stories. Maybe that's going to help us to have a fair understanding of where I'm coming from. Many years ago, about 25 years ago, I was hired as a system administrator in a bank, and I was given the first responsibility of reconciling the financial statement. Apparently, I know absolutely nothing about banking. I don't know anything about debit and credit. And the responsibility was upon me to, find the difference in the balance sheet. I went to finance department for them to explain to me what, credit and debit is all about, but nobody could actually explain all of that to me. Then they said the difference that I have on the balance sheet is essentially an IT problem, that I need to go back to IT department and solve the problem. So that was when I started my journey of a business analysis. I have to dig deep into the computer system to find where the difference was. And at the end of the day, I was able to resolve it. But I said to myself, for how long will I be dealing with all this kind of a situation where you are dealing with people who don't understand your language? You are speaking to finance department, they don't understand IT language, and IT department don't seem to understand the finance language. So I embarked on the journey of going for a formal training in banking with the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. I enrolled for the part 1 of the CIBN, examination. And I tell you, at the end of part 1, section 1 of the institute examination, I was a completely transformed person. I started working as a go-between the business and IT department. I now understood finance and banking even better than many bankers. So that was the beginning of the journey. I never knew that I was actually embarking on a journey called business analysis journey until when I traveled out of the country. In 2009, I came in contact with business analysis, and I said, "What's business analysis in the first place?" Because there was nothing like that. And on close examination, reviewing the curriculum and looking at what this subject was all about, and I found that this is what I've been doing for the past 10, 15 years at that time. And here I am today, after all of that experience and training, coming back to the same point, seeing myself working as a go-between the business and technology folks. So tonight, what I would like to just let you into is I have the agenda set here. What I would like to do essentially is to walk you through what we have been doing in banking by looking at the banking space, walk you through some of the development that is taking place in banking, then move on to look at what is in IT space, all the development that is taking place in the past few years, then look at a business analysis landscape. And after that, I'll give you a little bit of an insight into what business analysis is all about by providing an overview of what business analysis is all about. Then at the end of the day, towards the end, I will be providing some insight on how you can actually transition from whatever you do right now, but the focus is on the bankers. So how you can transition, from banking into business analysis. So the playing field is banking. We have 3 players. Let's just assume, just pretend to be, we have only 3 group of people that are actually operating in the industry. We have the bankers, we have technology folks, and we have business analysis. Within the banking space, many of us can actually relate with the different departments that we have in the bank. Banking operations, treasury operations, lending operations, investment and deposits, finance and account department, trade finance, marketing operations, customer relationship management, private banking and wealth management. What I just want to let you know is that there is no any difference between banking back in Nigeria or any part of the world and banking in this country. The banking business is about intermediation between the deficit and the surplus sector of the economy. What we do as bankers is essentially, develop products. And these products is what we use in actually attracting funds from the depositors. And we use the same product to actually give money out. The difference between what we took from a customer and what we are giving out is how we make our profit. So what I'm just trying to let you know, in advance is the fact that you already have an experience which is relevant in the business analysis space. So your experience in banking operation, your experience in treasury operation, your experience in lending and lending operations, your experience in credit, your experience in finance or trade finance, all of these are very, very relevant. But one thing I wanted to just quickly bear in mind is the fact that banking business actually changed all over, over a period of time. In today's world, the emphasis is on digital banking, where you don't have to walk into any brick and mortar organization to make your deposit or withdraw money. Many of us have not traveled to any bank. Now, look at what is happening during this pandemic. We are locked down in our houses, yet we are still doing some transactions. We are moving money from one account to another account. We are transacting business. We are doing those all over the entire place. So all of these experiences are very, very relevant to working as a business analyst. So focus as far as the department are concerned. What we're looking at is we're looking at what you do in terms of processes. What are the processes that are involved in banking operations? What are the processes that are involved in treasury operations? What are the processes that are involved in lending operations? What are the processes that are involved in investment? What has actually happened, what has actually happened in the past few years in terms of the way these are actually executed? That is what we're going to be looking at even through the whole of this session. Now let's look at the technology space. We're all aware of what is actually going on at the moment. A few years ago, maybe about 10, 15 years ago, many people are skeptical about the .com. Not many people are actually sure if there would be anything like an e-commerce. We just thought, okay, maybe this thing will just come and will just go. But today, the reality is that IT is actually taking over everything. It's taking over banking, and we need to be aware of this. There have been several developments in technology. In today's world, we talk about agile software development. In the past, we used to talk about the traditional, coding. Many banks will have IT department that have a whole bunch of guys that are actually coding. But in today's world, we don't do that much of that. We have agile software development. We now have enterprise resource planning applications being run in different organizations, and banking business is not an exception. We now have infrastructure that's against what we need to call hardware, infrastructure management, business process re-engineering, cloud computing. Today, most organizations are actually moving to the cloud. Most organizations are moving to the cloud. They are buying services. You're having things like a platform as a service. We're having software as a service. We're having infrastructure as a service. All of these are things that most organizations use to spend a lot of money, acquiring and keeping within their premises. But all of these are moving to the cloud. And a traditional banker need to be aware of what's actually happening. Even for strategy reasons, we need to be aware of this. E-commerce has come to stay. Statistics has shown that more than 70 billion transactions happen on a daily basis on the internet. If you're not doing e-commerce, you're actually missing out on a lot of great deals that's out there. IT project management is now the order of the day. Quality assurance is out there. Many of all these were not, they're not things that we're very familiar with many years ago. In IT department, I remember starting out as an IT person in the department. We don't have anything like a quality assurance. The system analyst is responsible for everything that's happening in the department. But in today's world, especially in this part of the world, we have quality assurance. These are things that we really need to be aware of. There's been so much changes that has taken place in technologies landscape. Therefore, this seminar is essentially to expose all of us, to make us be aware of what's actually happening out there so that we can take advantage or get ourselves prepared if we're not there already. The other thing is issue of analytics. There has been aggressive development in analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and data analytics. In today's world, we saw what happened in the case of a US election. There are so many things. I mean, there see a lot of things that are actually going on all around the world. Business intelligence is taking over the whole place. Artificial intelligence is something that has become order of the day. These are things that we really need to bear in mind. Why am I bringing all of this, in this conversation? Because a BA, essentially, the primary job of a BA is to work as a go between the business and the solution provider. Therefore, if you don't have an understanding of the solution that's out there, and you don't have an understanding of the business, it's going to be very difficult for you to do an effective job as a business analyst. Now, I'll call it the new paradigm because of all these changes that's taking place in the market space, in technology, and in business. There are new skill sets required by different organizations, by business. We call it the new paradigm. With this massive shift in technology, there are new skills in demand. This includes, but not limited to, business analysis, solution architect, business intelligence analyst, data analytics and IT audit, technical writers, consultants. All of these are new skills that are in high demand even in the market today. But our focus is going to be on a business analyst. We're going to be looking at what business analysis is all about. We're going to be looking at people that actually qualify, or current job titles or designations that qualify, to be described as a business analyst. I have on my screen here a list of a few job titles that can easily be transitioned or that can actually be described as a business analyst. One, business architect. A business architect in an organization are the one that are responsible for, looking at the interconnection between the different departments, the different business processes within the organization. A business system analyst, this is the shift that we have, as a result of business analysis. In the past, we used to have a system analyst, but with the introduction of a business analysis, there's now a variant. So anyone that is described as business analyst can actually be a BA. A data analyst can be a BA. An enterprise analyst can be a BA. A management consultant, depending on what you do in the organization, whether you're a management accountant or financial accountant, or whatever consultancy that you are providing to the organization, that can actually be transitioned or be taken as a BA role. A product manager or product owner or requirement engineer or system manager, all of these are qualifying BA job titles that has been endorsed by IIBA, that when you train as a BA, or if you are in any of this capacity in the past, that as soon as you train as a BA, you can easily redescribe yourself because you have actually performed, some of the roles of a BA, even without you knowing that you're actually doing a BA job. So what I'm just going to do now is just move on to just give you an overview of what business analysis is all about. I'll be providing you with some working definition. This is provided by the IIBA. IIBA gave us a definition. So business analysis is the process of enabling change in an organization by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholders. Well, this practice includes, but not limited to, what? Using a set of tasks, knowledge, and techniques used to work as a liaison person among stakeholders in order to do what? To understand the structure, policies, and operation of an organization, and to recommend solutions that enable the organization to achieve its objective. The key point here is that a business analyst is nothing more than a go-between the business and the solution provider. You are a liaison person. You work with different stakeholders to have an understanding of the business requirement, the business need, with the hope or with the view of providing a solution to the business. And this solution often includes what? System development component, but may also consist of a process improvement or organizational change. So whenever we talk about providing a solution, we are talking about providing IT solution. Please note that when we are talking about business analysis, we are not talking about core analysis of a financial statement or analysis of a strategy in the organization. We are thinking about automating, business processes within the organization. We are thinking about how we can actually bring about some changes in the organization by bringing computer systems, by automating the process. That is what we are actually focusing on here. In other words, business analysis is actually a subset of is a new discipline in IT. If you like to understand that. So by extension, I want to say that the business analyst is someone who studies the problems and needs of a business to determine how people, process, data, communication, and technology can best accomplish improvements to the business. In other words, for you to be a competent business analyst, you are expected to have a fair understanding or a good understanding of both business and computing. We're not saying that you must be a computer graduate. No. What we're saying is that you should be able to speak their language. Whoever is going to be a liaison person among stakeholders must have a fair understanding of this stakeholders' language. In other words, if you're going to be an interpreter between two people, it is fair for us to say that you should understand the language of the two people. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. You will not be able to do any interpretation. A business analyst is someone responsible for capturing, efficient capturing of data from the business source and the flow of the data to the computer system and the flow of useful and timely information to the business. That is what we are supposed to be doing. I always tell people that a business analyst is to a project. Is to a project as a midwife is to a child delivery. The business analyst is there at the very conception of the project. The business analyst will be there throughout the entire life of the project, up to go life of the project. So the question therefore is, why do we need a BA? Of course, it's to solve organization problems. And in solving these organization problems, we go into analyzing business needs. We look at the possible solutions, for solving the problem of the organization or for moving the organization from whatever position they are to the next position. We need the business analyst to provide support to the business. Remember, the business analyst was there at the very conception of the project. The business analyst was the one that actually gathered the requirement. He was the one that actually articulated the business requirement document. He was the one that worked with the solution provider. He was the one that worked with the testers. He would be the one that will work with any other members of the project team to ensure that the solution is actually delivered according to the articulated business requirement. It therefore makes logical sense for him to be the person that will be there to provide more support to the business, even at go live. Now let's look at how this transformed. The evolutionary base for all that we're talking about is the core project. So anytime we think about business analysis, we are thinking about a project. You cannot write an effective resume. You cannot claim to be a business analyst without having a fair understanding of what project is all about, without knowing the different phases of a project. It is almost nobody will ever believe whatever you are saying. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through, the project life cycle for the purpose of understanding what is involved or what you are trying to step into working as a BA. The starting point usually in a project cycle is the project initiation. That is when the project has been commissioned. Once the project is commissioned, then you hire a project manager. The project manager will be the one that will hire the BA. The primary job of a BA is essentially to articulate requirements. And what does that mean? The BA will work with the different stakeholders, especially the subject matter experts, to elicit requirements, to make a determination what the business actually want the solution to provide for them. That is the next phase in the project lifecycle. And the next is analysis and design. The analysis and design, this is where the developers or the system analysts will take over, will take the output of the BA, which was delivered at the requirement phase, and translate it to a system requirement specification. And this same document that will be given to the developer, who will write the code, and upon completing the code, a solution is going to be implemented. The implementation will always come in the form of installation, in form of providing training, in form of data conversion, and documenting whatever has taken place. The last but not the least is testing. Please, what I'm just giving you here is just a generic, life cycle. There will be several variants of this life cycle depending on methodology we are looking at. We can't go into all of that, but there are several types of methodology that we use in delivering projects. But these are basically, the different phases that the project is expected to go through in order to deliver what the business wants. Now, working as a BA, it's very important for you to know the people that are going to be working with. I've just mentioned a few of them, but let's have an understanding of what they're actually delivering. What is a project manager delivering? At initiation, the project manager is essentially responsible for planning the project. Of course, it's going to be doing some other things, but the primary thing that is actually developing is the project plan. Then, the second phase of the system development life cycle is data gathering and analysis. And who is responsible for this? Business analyst. He is primarily responsible for that, for gathering requirements, for validating requirements, for determining which requirement is relevant, which is not relevant. And at the end of the day, he has a deliverable. The deliverable for this business analyst is called business requirement documents. That is the primary, deliverable. The next phase is a design, system specification. The system analyst is responsible for delivering system requirement specification. Please remember, in this table, what we are looking at is that the output from one phase is the input to the next phase. So the output from business analysis is business requirement document, and this document is what is translated to a system requirement specification. And this is oftentimes completed by a system analyst. Again, please note, it is possible for a system analyst to become a business analyst as well. And those are some of the changes that's actually taking place in the marketplace, or especially with projects. The next phase is implementation. Please note, the implementation phase will have several descriptions. It could be called functional, people that are actually working in that space could be called functional consultants or technical consultants. They could be developers. But for the purpose of this presentation, just let's take implementation to mean a functional consultant or a technical consultant. The next phase is testing. And the main deliverable for testing is a testing plan and test cases. And who is responsible for that is tester. After that, we are thinking about going live. And who is primarily responsible for the go live? Until we get a go ahead from the end user through a user acceptance testing, there's nothing like a go live. So upon getting the signal from the end users, then we'll move on to go live. And that is the end of the project. Whatever happened after the go live, they are called post-implementation. There could be post-implementation support, or it could be post-implementation review, it could be post-implementation audit, whatever we want to call it. But in a nutshell, this is what a project lifecycle looks like. So, and as a BA, I've just highlighted in red, where you are actually, what you are actually delivering, in the project. Now let's quickly look at what's the building block. There have been several schools of thought about what business analysis is all about, but this is my understanding from my 25 years of working as a BA technically. There are 3 building blocks. There is domain area. There's a domain area which I call the business. There is the framework where you work as a business analyst, and there's technology. It's almost impossible for you to claim to be a BA without having a firm grasp of these 3 domain areas. The 3 of them work hand in hand. Let's look at what is in business. The whole reason why we are actually hired as a BA is because the business has a problem, to solve. What problem is the business trying to solve? It could be the problem of inefficiency. It could be a problem of waste. It could be a problem of profitability. It could be any problem. It could be that the business want to move to a new space, changing the business models, trying to move from brick and mortar to .com business, or trying to go to the cloud. There are several types of problems that the organization may want to solve out there. So during feasibility study, the business will have come to a conclusion, or a temporary what I would call a temporary decision, subject to some further validation of what they need to do in order to solve the problems. Some of the potential solutions could be maybe an introduction of business intelligence solution. It could be an introduction of a business process management solution. It could be an introduction of an e-commerce solution. It could be that they need to automate their budgeting system or planning system. Once this is actually concluded, the next thing we are doing is we have a project in our hand. As a business analyst, working as a go-between these two group of people, you are equipped with a lot of tools and a framework to enable you to work effectively as a BA. And what we leverage as BA is what I call, we use the IIBA framework. And what I have on the screen here to just give us an understanding of what framework is all about here is the knowledge areas. There are 6 main knowledge areas as far as the BA is concerned. Strategy analysis, decision and collaboration, requirement lifecycle management, requirement analysis and design definition, solution evaluation, and planning and monitoring. I'm not going to be going to all of the detailed explanation of what each of all of this is all about, but let me just give you an idea of what we are looking at here. Under strategy analysis, this is where you establish the current state of the organization. This is where you make a determination where the organization, the future model of the organization. How is the organization planning to solve the problem they are currently going? All of that is established under strategy analysis. In decision and collaboration, this is where you work with the business to elicit the requirement, to articulate your requirement, to validate what requirements are relevant, and moving on to requirement lifecycle. Requirement lifecycle is where you identify the requirement and trace the requirements up to the point is approved, for inclusion in the business requirement document. So I'm not going to go into all of that details, but just bear in mind, as a BA, you have the framework for working as a go-between the business and the solution provider. So the solution provider here, we're talking about technology. And technology, broadly speaking, we are looking at a hardware, software, and communication. Okay. Now let me quickly explain, expatiate more on the business side. Remember, you are a go-between the business and the solution provider. As a banker, you already have banking processes in your pocket, so to say. In other words, you have a firm grasp of the different business processes in the banking arena. Like lending, you have an understanding of the entire life cycle of a lending, from a loan creation to closing a loan. You have an understanding of the operation, from opening an account and closing the account, and you have a firm understanding of the different products that's available in the investment investment space. From a TFSA to RSP to RIF. And in capital market, you have all of these things. Please, for a minute, just think, how many of us are still, processing or carrying out any of these operations manually? I doubt if there's any one of us. The truth of the matter is that we are using some form of either full automation or semi-automation systems to help us perform all of these tasks. So you already have a firm understanding of the business itself. You know the entire life cycle of an account. Our account is, is open and closed. You have a firm understanding of what happened in HR space, for example, from recruitment and to the time of terminating the employment of an individual. So you have a good grasp of all of this. So you have that in your pocket. You don't need any education on that one. But it's a prerequisite for you to work effectively as a BA. Let's move on to the framework, giving it more details. The system Nigeria see how they all interplay. The entrance, how do we get into this space is by having a project in hand. I talk about maybe when an organization has done a SWOT analysis, they come with a decision that in order to avert a particular threat, maybe they need to introduce a particular technology. And that will be subject to all of this framework. That's why I'm going to walk through the strategy analysis, understand where the organization is, and trying to understand where the organization is going. Walk through elicitation and collaboration, requirement life cycle management, requirement analysis and definitions, and solution evaluation. This is the framework that we use in working as a BA, end to end, so to say. Now, on the IT space, this has always been a form of a nightmare for so many people. There are many folks that want to be in BA, they don't have any IT background. And the question oftentimes is, what do I need to know in IT? Like I said at the very beginning, if you are going to be an interpreter between two people, you need to have a fair understanding of, you need to be able to speak the language of the two people. You may not be very, very fluent, but at least you have an understanding of the two languages. And that's exactly what we're trying to, demonstrate here. IT landscape is like a jungle, to be honest with you. There are so many terminology out there. There's so many things that's out there that people don't even have an understanding of what they do. So what I'm trying to just project to you here is highlighting where most BA are expected to work. Although in today's market, a BA can work in any of the areas. You can have a BA working in networking and communication, a BA working in, database. You have a BA working in some other solution. But the focus is on the application side, because application is nothing more than a tool that you use in carrying out your data processing. So when you are working as a BA, it is very important for you to have an understanding of the kind of technology that's going to help you achieve your objective. It's very, very important for you to know how those solutions that you have identified will help the business in solving the problem that have been identified or the problem that's at hand. Okay, what are the competencies? What skill do you need to work as a BA? The first and the most important thing is personal quality. You must have capacity for imagination, conceptualization, and communication. Communication skills should be very good. The next one is a business knowledge. You need to have a firm understanding of a domain knowledge, including product development and process and business processes. The business processes, we just emphasize it. You have a firm understanding of business processes in banking. You have a firm understanding of business processes in finance or in accounting, depending on which area that you work. Okay. The next one is IT system knowledge. You need to have an understanding of different, system components, including how all the systems are, fit together in terms of a functional architecture or software technology. So just have a good understanding of IT space is an essential skill, for you to work as a competent business analyst. The next but not the least is the techniques. There are a whole range of techniques out there that you need to be familiar with. There are techniques that apply. Some of the techniques apply to business, and some of the techniques apply to IT. Having a good understanding of all of this will help you to work effectively as a competent business analyst. Now let's quickly look at the career options, or look at what's available out there working as a business analyst. When you train as a BA, you are technically training as a generalist. A generalist is someone who can actually work on any project. You can work in any industry. Is competent across all areas of business analysis, uses a variety of techniques in an initiative of a varying scope and circumstances, found of various levels of organization. You are found in the various levels of organization. So you are not tied to any particular organization. You can work in any industry, you can work on any project, it doesn't matter. The next one is a specialist. This one possesses a solid or advanced subject matter expert. For example, someone like you, for those people who are bankers, I will spend about 10 years or 15 years working in banking. You already have a domain expertise. You are a subject matter expert in that area. You can become a BA specializing in banking. And that's kind of experience that I have. For my entire career life working as a BA, I've always been in the banking sector. I've led in implementing different type of solutions in different area of banking, which includes lending, finance, payment, trade finance. I've done a whole range of this and across different organizations. You can't run short of this. The reason why leveraging this is very important is because that is a language you are most familiar with. That is what you have been doing for many years, and you can't have any problem. You can't go wrong with it because you already know it anyway. The next one is a hybrid. A hybrid is somebody who is combining two skills. They demonstrate some degree of competencies across a more limited set of knowledge areas or tasks, require a percentage of a competency in business analysis and some other specific line of business line. For example, when you look at the senior development life cycle, I mentioned to you there are several people that participate in the landscape, including testers, quality assurance experts, developers, auditors, and of course a project manager. When you combine any two in this landscape, you are technically a hybrid. You can be a BA QA, you can be a BA PM, you can be a BA developer. Anytime you combine two roles within the same development lifecycle, you are technically a hybrid. Okay. So with respect to banking, you are a business analyst, but you want to specialize in lending. And on top of your business analyst, you want to add QA to that. You are a core hybrid. And that is the way I've been working for the past few years. I work as a BA QA and specializing on a particular banking solution. I'll be working on T24 banking solution, and I work on so many other banking solutions in the past. But the focus is what am I bringing onto the table? And this is where hybrid or specialist in banking become very relevant. And so some of the examples of hybrid and specialist banking that we can talk about include, but not limited, combination of a business analyst and quality assurance, solution architect and business architect, implementation consultant, or business system analyst. Now, what are the different titles, or call it a roadmap, working as a BA? Having trained as a BA, you can assume different type of roles. I've mentioned them at the beginning. And some of them are, but not limited to this. You can be a functional analyst even as a BA. You can be a service request analyst. You can be an agile business analyst. You can be a system analyst. You can be a business system analyst. You can be a business requirement analyst. These are examples of potential area where you can actually function as a business analyst. Now, talking about for senior folks who are looking at a leadership position, there is no any limit to where you can actually reach as a BA. You can get to the position of a director. You can even get to the C level in organizations. It's for you to have an understanding of what is required for you to move from wherever you are right now and move through the ranks and becoming a leader within that particular industry, within that particular space. Of course, there are a lot of benefits for this. Working as a BA to organizations, it's been reported widely that having a BA on project has actually helped organizations to save a lot of money by reducing the rate of a failure on projects. It ensures organizations to deliver to deliver projects successfully. On the individual side, even if you're not working as a BA, it's a life skill. If you're not working as a BA, it makes you to be more effective because you have a very good and a thorough understanding of how to decompose processes, how to analyze problems, and how to provide solutions, how to work as a go-between the different solution providers, how to help an organization, to deliver on whatever they want. But more importantly, there are more opportunities out there. You have good compensation, of course. Maybe that's the main reason, the main attraction for many people. A good compensation, an average of $50 per hour, I think is a modest income. And if you're looking for a full-time job, you could be thinking about an average of 70K. People make as much as over 100K, per annum. Now, other reasons, for the rise in the demand for BAs, I've just mentioned the issue of a failure. Why are most projects regarded as failure? Or when would a project be regarded as failure? When you are not delivering according to the business requirements, the project will technically be described as a failure. Some of the reasons why, some of the factors that have been identified based on statistics is around requirement. If you look at what I have on my screen here, I'm talking about unrealistic expectation. Expectation is about requirement. Lack of resources, that is by the side. Technology, incompetence. But lack of executive support, unrealistic expectation, and change or incomplete requirements and specifications, those constitute a very high chunk of the reason why many projects are failing. Lack of a user input. When you don't have a user input, unrealistic expectation, and a lack of executive support and incomplete requirements, all these put together can constitute a very big percentage of the reason why projects is actually failing. In order to avert unnecessary failure, many organizations thought, having a BA is the way to go, and I totally agree that it is the way to go because I can share my personal experience. Working as a BA, working as a go-between between the business and the solution provider, being able to speak the language of the business and speaking the language of the solution provider has helped me personally and has helped the organization and helped in delivering on most projects that I've worked on. Now, talking about strategies, what strategy do we have? What strategy is available here? I've mentioned to you there are three building blocks. The three building blocks will represent the strategy that we're going to adopt. The first building block is the domain area. Your domain area is banking and finance or accounting. Or you can fill in anything that you do into that space. That's the domain area. The second one is framework, and the third one is technology. So why is domain area a pathway? Leverage your banking experience. Your banking experience is so huge that there is no way any IT professional can actually implement a banking solution without a strong collaboration with a banker. If you see any solution that is out there that is being used, whether it's Bankmaster or Finacle or FlexCube or whatever it is, all these solutions are developed in collaboration with experts in the industry. Well, I'm talking about bankers, not IT professionals. So in order to deliver this project, in order to support this project, in order to implement this project, of course, the bankers will still be required because they are the only one who can actually understood what has actually gone into that solution. So leveraging your domain area, I think, is my own number one option and a recommendation to anybody that's actually coming to this space as a banker. The next one is technology. There are many folks out there that they have a little bit of IT, or they have worked briefly. They are not trained as a computer scientist. They are not IT professional. They don't have any formal training in IT. But then they have worked with the solutions. You can actually leverage your understanding of technology. I'm very sure most bankers have participated in implementation of banking solution in the past. Just that most of the time we just say, oh, I only tested, but it's beyond testing. So being part of a project, being part of an IT project in the bank can actually be part of what you're going to use, as a banker that is trying to transition into business analysis. So just cast your mind to anytime you have worked in any project you have worked on in the past. Whether you work in lending, they're implementing a lending solution, they're implementing a reconciliation software, they're implementing a risk solution, whatever it is that they are doing in the bank, that you have been involved, and it has some touch of a technology, this will be relevant. But you can only leverage this pathway if you are a technical person. If you're an IT person, because a lot of IT people are actually coming to BA as well, just for your information. A lot of people who are trained who are IT professionals, network engineers, because their jobs are moving to the cloud, they are equally coming to BA. So those people can actually take this part. Okay. So for those of us who are bankers who have worked on IT project in the past, we can actually have a combination of our domain expertise and technology to move us forward to become an effective BA. The next one, but not the least, is a best practice pathway. Even when you're not working on projects, many of us have gone some of this training. Agile in domain area, we're talking about traditional banking, best practice in banking. We need to use SAP. SAP banking is a very good reference point of FlexCube. I would love to use a package, a solution, a commercial off-the-shelf application like a FlexCube or SAP, because all the solutions, they have gone through a lot of development. They have leveraged the expertise of several people all over the whole place in order to develop the solution. Using that documentation, using your experience with those solutions can actually help you to move forward as a BA. But what's more important for me as far as a best practice is concerned here is look at a vendor best practice. There are best practice in Agile, best practice in Oracle, best practice in SAP. All these vendors, they have their own best practice in terms of how they implement their own solution. Okay. So questions, I've had people have asked me this question many times. What do they do on a day-to-day basis? I just want to use the framework of a senior development cycle processes to just explain to you what we do. Apart from using IBA knowledge areas, which consist of elicitation, requirement analysis, modeling, solution evaluation, planning and monitoring. We use that to work within the senior development life cycle, where you have things like a business process architecture. What's business process architecture? Many of us have been involved in writing statement of operating procedure. Many of us have been involved in writing a user guide. Many of us have been involved in writing, user manual in organizations. All of these put together constitute what we feed into your business process architecture. Without the business process architecture in place, it's almost impossible for you to do a good job, gathering your requirements. I always tell people, leverage your existing documentation. And one of the existing documentation you can have is a business process architecture or statement of operating procedure. So what do? You create a lot of documents. That's what we do. We create documents. We work with business to identify their requirements and document their requirements. We compile this requirement and map the requirement to solutions. We work with solution developer. We work with developers to ensure that their design is actually matching with what we have documented. We work throughout the end. We work with different, team members within the system development lifecycle up to go live. In actual fact, a BA is expected to actually lead a go live engagement in terms of testing, performing a UAT. Okay, these are some of the things that we do as BA. The other thing, other thing I want to quickly just let us know. I haven't said all of these things. What's the roadmap? How can I embark on this journey? What kind of training can I take? These are just a suggestion. Apart from going for a formal, functional fundamentals of BA, these are some specific areas that you can actually look at. In terms of framework, have a firm understanding of the IIBA framework. It's called BABOK. Get into agile environments. Have an understanding of what agile is all about. Look at what's available with other with other vendors, like OUM is Oracle Unified Method, modeling tools, have an understanding, sharpen your skill in facilitation and interpersonal skills. On the IT side, have a fair understanding of IT, embark on this journey. The truth of the matter is, in today's world, we can see if with this coronavirus thing, all of us are locked down in our homes. We can't do anything. IT is the way to go. If you're not embracing it now, I don't know, it's like somebody trying to defy the evil days, so to say. So we need to find a structured approach by which we can actually move in to learn what will enable us to work effectively as a BA. And in terms of technology, look at the IT foundations, basic IT foundational courses, look at the quality assurance, looking at the basic database concept, looking at IT service management, looking at software project management. All of these are examples of things you can actually, embark upon, and that will enrich your language. It will enable you to now be able to speak a better IT language than many other people. Please don't forget, even the last one that I just have here is the Office application. Office application is very important. Microsoft Office. Many of us claim to know Microsoft Word, but the truth of the matter is that we are even less than a beginner in a Microsoft Word. So please, all of these tools, they are called productivity tools. It's very important for us to just get familiar with them. Do whatever you can do to learn them, and that will help you to do an effective job working as a BA. Perhaps you're already a BA and working in that space and you are struggling with a few things, you may want to consider, some advanced training. And I'm making suggestion here. Model advanced BA training will include things like deliberately go into ERP and become a subject matter and become an expert in that technology. Or go into Agile, go through the entire process. You can become a SPOC. A SPOC is a subject matter, SPOC is a Scrum product owner certification. You can be an SMC, that's a Scrum Master. You can be, please consider vendors certification. That will help you in terms of framework. On the IT side, I look at things like SQL, basic SQL. We're not saying you should become a programmer at this point, but have an understanding of this basic language. Know what business intelligence is all about. Know how you can actually go there, even if it's just foundational part of it. That is going to help you a great deal to be able to move forward, even to the next level. The other one, last one I just have there, just suggestion here, business process management. There's so many tools that are available out there that can actually help us in this capacity. Okay, so this is where I've come to the end of the presentation. I believe we have a lot of questions, and I hope we have enough time to take as many questions as we can. I'm just going to hand over to now Jacob.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Sam. I tell you, it's been quite an eye-opener. Without a doubt, I'm sure a lot of the participants here will agree that you have unlocked a new door, and it's given them a different perspectives on how to look at BA and hopefully take advantage and explore the field. And I also have quite a number of persons who are already wanting to ask questions, and then we also have some folks. Just before we go to the Q&A session, I'd like to let all our participants know, especially those in Canada, that the CIBN Canada branch is up and running. I mean, they are the ones who have sponsored tonight's webinar, and you can come on board. It's pretty easy process. Right now, we're going to be having the how to join the Canada branch of CIBN for all those who are interested, especially for our banking colleagues from Nigeria who are currently here. We will be popping up the directions on how to come on board. Once you see that, all you need to do is follow the instructions there, and it's pretty easy to come on board. While we're waiting for that to pop in, I also want to let us know that after the Q&A session, we have also thought about the idea of letting our participants let us know what area of career management they want us to focus on. Okay, so At the end of the Q&A session, we're popping up some specific career areas like project management, compliance, and all we need for you to do, it's a poll. You just click on what areas you would like us to focus on next. At the end of the QA session, that will be popping up. Okay, while we're still waiting for that, what we'll just do now is take a couple of questions that have come in, and then I have also observed that some of our participants have their hands raised. And like I said at the beginning, we will take the questions that have been typed in, and afterwards we will give audience to participants who have their hands raised. Mr. Sam, I have a question here for you. The first question is from Eric Barrow, and Eric is saying that, okay, I'll read it verbatim, as it's presented here. I'm new to Canada. I have over 13 years banking experience through retail, commercial, corporate, and branch management. Would you advise that I do a master's in finance here, or I take a business analysis professional certification or qualification? I am actually at a crossroad. That question is from Eric. You want to respond to that, sir?
That's a very good question. I get that all the time. What I would personally want to recommend is just go for BA straight away, and I'll give you some explanation. There is, if you go for a master degree, that's going to take you another 2 years. Depending, if you are doing it on full time, look at the cost of the master degree and look at the cost, as you say, look at the opportunity cost. You find out that at the end of the day, it's a lot more money that you are spending going for a master degree than going for a BA. If you are doing a BA program, at the very, very best in any college, it can't take you more than 6 months. In actual fact, we have a lot of training program all around that run for just about 2 months, and with appropriate guidance and mentorship and coaching from a very good trainer, I believe you can actually have a breakthrough. What we need the most in this part of the world is not another degree, another qualification in terms of credentials. What we need is, we need somebody, we need a mentor, we need appropriate training that is required in the industry. Nobody, I have a 2 master degree, nobody ever asked for my certificate in all my jobs. So that's going to be myself. I would say simply, please go, just embark, find a very good institution, a very good training, be a training provider, sign up with them. Ensure that some of the things that I've highlighted here in terms of training suggestion are called out in some of those training, because you may embark on a training program that at the end of the day is not going to be worth your while. I hope I answered that question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sam. I have another one here. It says, it's from Muibat Anifowoshe. I hope I got that pronunciation correctly. Please forgive me if I didn't pronounce it well. Can an economist be a business analyst?
Absolutely. Anyone can be a business analyst. Anyone at all, anyone can be a business analyst. So the point is that when you say you are an economist, of course you have been doing something in the past. Even all that you have been doing is research in economics, is still relevant. Just thinking about automation, think about your domain area, the businesses that are associated with what you are working on, and consider some of the skills that you already acquired over a period of time. Those skills are what we try as much as to help folks to translate to business analysis. You notice that I listed quite a whole range of things there, and I'm very sure if it's possible, they will put econometrics. They will put some other, some economics stuff there. So anybody can be, anybody can be a BA. That's just my point. Anybody. It's just about your determination. How hungry are you? How desperate are you? Of what relevant is of what important is this particular thing to you? don't come into BA. What I'm just going to warn people is that if you don't have any passion for it, if you don't have some of all those competencies that we just highlighted, if you don't have, if you are coming into this space because of, oh, they are paying them a lot of money, I want you to seriously reconsider it. Okay? So an economist can actually become a BA.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to add that the money is very attractive too. But that's on a lighter note. For all those who are, just before I take questions from our audience who would want to ask in person, I'd like us to know that all the information you need to become a member of the Canada branch is currently on our chat session. So if you're on your computer or on your phone, just click on the chat session and you will see all the information there. Okay, thank you very much. It's also on the slide page on how you can contact us here in Canada. I have a couple of people with their hands raised that I would like us to take questions from. I have Juliet and Anyaoha. Forgive my pronunciation, please. I'm going to, oh, okay, Juliet has, okay, Juliet is back. She went offline briefly. Juliet, I'm going to unmute you at the moment and I'll give you the permission to ask Mr. Sam directly. Thank you. Juliet, you can unmute yourself. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, hello everyone.
Hi.
Okay, I would start by thanking Mr. Samuel for his time. This section is really informative. Like, it's opened my eyes to a lot of things that I couldn't have considered I did in the past I can relate to as business analysis role. Okay, for me, I have a background in customer service in one of the leading banks in Nigeria. And now I'm coming to I'm transiting to the BA profession. My first question is, I don't know how to come up based on what the project he has listed from the operations part. I can't really relate. What I did in the past was like an end user that we tried to test to check the functionalities of some of the applications we use in customer service. And if I go for an interview here, I don't know how to really present it. Like, I don't know how to really talk confidently to say, yes, this is what I did over 10 years. Then the second one the second question is, I love this BA. In fact, I'm very passionate about it, but my problem is the facilitation skill, which is one of the key things that you need to excel in this career. So how do I develop myself really to position me to this in this competitive market? Thank you.
Okay, I think the first question on being a customer reps, or if you cast your mind back to the banking application that you were using, you notice that you do your KYC, you do AML, you do PEP, you do so many things on that system, right? You know, the way I want you to just picture yourself is look at what we're doing. Look at the processes around your area. In CRM, it's all about customer engagement, nothing more than that. You know, you are the very first point of call when a customer comes to the bank. So what you do all the due diligence. There's a process in place in most banks, and I'm very sure your bank is not an exception. But in terms of technology, what you may not be able to explain easily is that there is what we call CRM. CRM is customer relationship management solution. It's out there. Many banks are now implementing it. And for banks who did not implement this, it's actually a module within the banking solution. There is no way you can actually do an effective, customer relationship management, even in the banking environment, without having that module there. It's for you to identify the solution that you work on. Let's assume that you work with Finacle, or you work with FlexCube, or you work with Bankmaster, you work with any of those banking solutions. I'm telling you, there's always a module. So what you need to do is get in touch with people who probably have more experience in the banking solution, who can actually tell you the name of what you are actually working on at that time. The second thing is that cast your mind, look at the statement of operating procedure around your operations. You know, they will give you a user guide, or they give you a user manual, or whatever they call it, or there will be a policy within the bank on how accounts are operated. What you need to do when you see a PEP, what you need to do when you see to do a KYC. All of those things are skills that really need to translate, you know, and that's what you are bringing to your BA. On your second question on facilitation skill, please note that communication is not only about standing and talking to people, right? But it's about how you engage your audience, how you are able to exchange information, and whoever is receiving it is actually comprehending what you are passing across. So I have worked in this space for, as a matter of fact, in my past few few projects that I worked on, I don't even do any facilitation. I don't do. What I'll be doing is I focus more on reviewing the business requirement that was prepared by another person, or engaging the business to identify. And I do a lot of a mapping of a requirement to solution. So in mapping requirement to solution, you don't do any facilitation. So if for you to have an understanding of the entire system development life cycle and know what is deliverable at each stage, and know how the kind of support you can actually provide. But coming to addressing this challenge of a facilitation, anybody can talk. The important thing is that you should know what you can talk. I mean, what to talk about. Getting yourself prepared, getting relevant books, and knowing what is involved can be, it's going to be a form of training. Learn more about workshop. Learn more about if you attend a good training school, they will teach you what to really, the kind of skills, or how to go about, mastering the art of facilitating. So it's something that that's not a big deal. The most important thing is what you just mentioned in between. You said you are passionate about BA. If you are passionate about anything, I'm telling you, nothing can stop you. But when you're not passionate about it, then you will struggle with it, and in no time you give it up. Okay. I hope that response is helpful a little bit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sam. And I'll quickly want to just add to the last person that asked the question. I can tell you are in safe hands. It's a good thing that we know that you were a banker in Nigeria. So please just go to the chat session. Ensure you register as a member with us in Canada. And given that you're passionate about it and it's an area you want to explore, I can assure you that whatever possible way that we can help you get to that dream, or bring that dream to realization, we're going to help you do that. And for all other attendees, I would also like you to know that if you're having this same challenge, just go ahead, register as a member, and connect with us. Together, we want to build a new level of progress for every member here in Canada. Thank you so much. A quick one, I would let Mr. Akin Morakinyo to please unmute himself, and you have permission to go ahead and speak.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to congratulate the CIBN Canada branch for this landmark, groundbreaking, informative and educative program. And I'd like to thank Mr. Sam for that insightful presentation. I must confess I'm logging on from Nigeria. It's 1 a.m. now, midnight, but it's been a worthwhile, eye-opening session. And so my question is this. We have people here in Nigeria. Having listened to you, I've got 2 other people listening with me here, and we're excited about this and would like to join the train. Now, since BA is the go-between the business and technology, can CIBN Canada branch also facilitate Nigerians here who would like to come on board this profession? And that's my question. Just to add that I'm the group head membership services of CIBN. Thank you.
Of course, we should. I mean, technology makes it very, very easy. Even if you want to come to Nigeria, I'm just more than happy with what is actually happening in this space. I'm so excited about the energy that we have. We have the group of people that are actually running this ESCO thing. Starting with Mary to every one of us. I think the energy is so infectious, so to say. So we'll be more than happy to, we can discuss it at our own ESCO level here, and see how we can actually, work with you. But that, of course, is something that is doable. No any problem about that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sam. And I think for me personally, we're very excited. Coming from the office in Nigeria, I'm sure, like you rightly said, we'll be more than willing to work with them. I have one more hand being raised here, Oyelayo Adekonye. And once again, I'd like to apologize for everyone that I probably have not been pronouncing your names properly. Please forgive me. Oyelayo, you have the floor. Please go ahead with your question. Oyelayo Adekonye. Okay, at the moment, Oyelayo, please go ahead and unmute your mic, and then we should be able to hear you. Okay, it's saying your mic is unmuted. All right, what we'll do next, we have Chioma Nwokolo on the line. Chioma, okay, Oyelayo, let's take Chioma's question and then we'll come straight back to you, okay? Thank you.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah. Good evening.
Okay, thank you very much for this enlightenment. Business analysis has been so confusing to me, but let me just go straight to my question. My question is a bit similar to Eric's own. All I never did operation. All I did in banking was marketing for the 15 years I was there, up to branch leadership for so many years. And then while I didn't have a banking background, I had science background. So, but while you were talking, I didn't see the connection between marketing and the business analysis. What kind of problem will be generated that we need a business analyst? I understand operations, but the marketing is basically engaging the customers. Are they going to get a system? I don't understand what kind of problem that I'll be solving as a business analyst with my background, except otherwise I changed totally to maybe credit lending operations, which I wasn't even in operations. I was in the marketing marketing end of lending, talking to the customers, appraising the customers, and then submitting to credit risk department for further processing. Thank you.
That's a very, very good question. And in actual fact, you are the first BA. let me explain that to you. Okay. You have been engaging the customer. I remember many times I've worked with people in marketing. When you are going after all these high net worth individual or those blue chip companies like Lever Brothers or Cadbury or all those big companies, what do? You go out there to meet the chief executive, with the hope of getting their account, isn't it? And oftentimes they will tell you a whole range of things that they want you to do for them. Let me give you some specific example. You may not have that experience. I remember at one time we follow one of our marketers to, I think it was a Lever Brother. I can't remember which of the organization. They wanted the solution, check print. They issue a lot of check to all their vendors. Maybe on a daily basis, maybe they issue up to about, I don't know, maybe 100 or 500, I don't know, many checks. So they want the bank to take responsibility of issuing that check. So that was the business. So what we need to do is the marketer that collect all the requirements, what the business wants, and then pass it on to IT department. So the marketer is actually technically a BA in that capacity. Can you see where we're coming from? So unless we are saying that all I do is going after the politicians and just getting money from them, but even at that, it's about customer relationship management, marketing. Anytime we talk about marketing, unfortunately, I didn't show that in the business process. I think I took that one off. In marketing, there are three elements. There are three things that are involved. We call marketing. Please, for this minute, just think about marketing as a CRM, customer relationship management. And in this area, we have three core modules. One, sales operations, marketing management, and even lead management is part of it. We have service management, marketing management, and sales operations. All of these are components of a marketing. Many organizations are looking for experts. They are looking for BA who have mastery of these areas. And you can find them. You don't have to even look. You don't have to even look in the bank. They are all over the whole of communication. TELUS, Bell, all those organizations. Any organization where you have people picking up the call and recording things, they have a CRM behind the door, behind them. So that is what you are. So what you should be focusing on as a marketing expert in the bank, or having worked as a marketer in the bank, is look at the solution. The focus should be the solution. After you have looked at your process, look at a solution that will match that. The solution that is out there for marketer is called CRM. In today's world, we have things like a Salesforce CRM, we have a Microsoft Dynamics CRM, we have a CIBN CRM, we have a SAP CRM. We have all these CRM solutions all over the whole places, right? So you don't have any problem at all. All you need to do is have a mastery. You already have banking. In actual fact, even the fact that you work in a bank, you have some experience in banking. Anyway, even though you think you are only doing marketing, right? So, but you have an established expertise in marketing, and those three modules I just mentioned to you, or those three core processes in marketing, bear that in mind. Number one, sales operations, marketing operation, and the service management. All of these things are what constitutes marketing. You may not be doing the entire thing back home, but that is what marketing is all about. Anytime you are looking for a job here, and they say they are looking for a CRM, that's what they're looking for. I hope I've been able to answer that question a little bit.
Thank you very much.
If you have further question, if that is not sufficient, just feel free to reach out. And that's the reason why we have the branch. You can reach out to us in the branch, and hopefully we are trying to set up call it a virtual office, while we can actually be in the office on a specific day of the week, and we can take call to clarify issues with people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sam, for all the responses, and we want to thank everyone that has also asked their questions. Just before we round off this program, I just want us to know again that the information that you need to become a member of the Canadian branch, it's there on your chat. I mean, we'll be excited to have you. And like Mr. Sam said, we are in the process of opening up a virtual office where we can help guide our members here in Canada on how to go into various fields of endeavor that they may be looking to go into. And because this is a first of a series, this is not just one-off series or one-off program, we would like to bring up a poll right now, and we want our participants to please let us know which other area of career series that they would want us to present in our next program. The poll is up on your screen now, and these are areas that as a former banker that you can explore within the Canadian space, and we would just like you to click on it. It will be up there for a few seconds, and with that it will help in our planning process as well. And please don't forget, all the information you need to become a member is right there on the chat session. You still have a few more seconds to go ahead and click on the area of focus, and then would take the closing remarks, and that will be all for today. For those persons who may still have questions, please, what I would suggest is, we're practically out of time. We will need to close this session. So what I would suggest is, please go ahead, click on the membership register with us, and then from there we'll be able to address all other issues that may be coming up. Thank you very much. Mr. Sam, I just want to use this opportunity first to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to anchor the session today. And secondly, I'd like to thank all of our participants. Today's session would not have been possible without you. You made it what you made it worth our while. We want to thank you so much for attending. And I also want to thank those that joined us from Nigeria. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to working with you. We also want to thank the entire executive members of CIBN Canada branch. You have done an excellent job. I know that with this, we're going to be having, we have by our own selves, we have made the stakes very high, and I'm sure we're ready to take on whatever comes our way going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like again to thank every one of you and to thank you, Mr. Sam, for coming. And all I can say is have a wonderful evening. God bless you. See you in our next series, which is going to be coming up very soon. The information will be passed across, and then we will see you again to brainstorm on how we can explore the Canadian market and take advantage of all of the opportunities that are there. Thank you so much for joining, and God bless you.